Breath of the Wild is not a Zelda game. It's a statement that has been echoed since its release in 2017. And I am coming here today to tell those people that they are wrong. Breath of the Wild is at its very core the absolute idea of what Zelda is when it was first created 39 years ago. And in today's video, I just want to sit and really talk about that statement and how problematic it is for the Zelda community as a whole. We're coming at each other with these statements that are frankly absurd, and while we're okay to have different opinions, whenever you leverage something that's factually incorrect in your opinion, I feel I need to come on here and just talk through why maybe it's time to reconsider that point of view. Welcome back to the Zelda Realm YouTube channel. My name is Joe, and as always, it's great to have you with me for this week's video. A couple of housekeeping things. First off, thanks so much for all the comments on last week's video. I'm going to pop up the two that I liked the most, and if you want to be on one of these videos, all you got to do, comment something down below and I'll pop you up in this feature next week. I have a Patreon now, so if you want to support me in any way you can click the link in the description below. There's various benefits. You can get videos early, you can get shout outs on videos, and you can get exclusive monthly videos, so have a check of that, click the link. And finally, streams are moving to a new channel. You'll see it in the description as well. Subscribe to that, the Zelda Realm Plays. They will be starting from this upcoming week when you're seeing this video. So check it out. I'll be doing playthroughs of the Zelda games over on that channel. But for now, sit back, relax, and let's talk about Breath of the Wild. And is it a Zelda game or is it not? I've already given my answer. So the reason I'm bringing this up this week is because last week, obviously, I put up a video that was talking about the games that you should play first in the Zelda franchise, and in that I named three. So I said Breath of the Wild, Ocarina of Time, and Skyward Sword. And interestingly enough, the only comments I got about that were about Breath of the Wild specifically, and I got a couple of comments that said, can't believe the first Zelda game you'd recommend isn't even a Zelda game. People saying Breath of the Wild isn't a Zelda game, blah blah blah. And the thing is, this isn't new news. This is 8 years old now. People have been saying this since the game released. These so-called purists of the Zelda franchise, while their opinion is that they maybe do not like Breath of the Wild, which by the way, that's totally fine, and I personally am happy for you if you like the game or if you don't. Like, that's your prerogative. It's really not my problem or issue. But I think our opinions need to be rooted in reality, and the reality is that Breath of the Wild is more of a Zelda game than many of the others, because the original Zelda game was an open design. Dungeons could be completed in any order. The world was relatively open, and while you needed some items to progress through the world, the whole original idea was that Zelda would be this open adventurous, open air adventure. We then fast forward to Skyward Sword, and one thing I think that's really interesting about the dynamics of Zelda at the time is that a lot of the elements of Skyward Sword were created with the vision that would then lead to Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. I think you can tell by the DNA of the game that the team wanted to create this open adventure. That it was hardware that limited them to be able to do that. You can see that in the way that they have the different regions and the different things in the game. I think Skyward Sword walked so that games like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom could run. Now, Skyward Sword in itself has very good dungeon design, but the story, the way in which it's told, is problematic. It is extremely linear. It can be boring at times. We even think of games like Twilight Princess in there as well. I think I was reminded recently of just how long it takes to get through kind of the first few hours of Twilight Princess compared with an Ocarina of Time. It takes 5 hours, if you really try, to get from the start of Twilight Princess to the end of the first dungeon. Like, that is insane. And it's all linear, you have to do everything. That's not a good thing either. I think when we look back to those titles, I love all of the games. I love them all, but I think as fans we're often tainted by what we believe is a better product than actually it was. And I think nostalgia blinds us in many ways. And whenever Breath of the Wild came out and it was different, a lot of people did not like the change. We as people, we are opposed to change in so many different ways. We don't like whenever things are different to the way they were before. But that isn't a reason to not give Breath of the Wild a go. And so, critics, they were giving Breath of the Wild 10s, masterpieces. This is the best game of all time. It was getting all of these labels, and a lot of people were skeptical. They were saying, well, these critics, they play other games as well, so their knowledge and their loyalty to Zelda isn't the same as ours, who we play all the games religiously, we love them to pieces. A lot of us are very, very in-depth with our knowledge of the lore, so the structure is different. Absolutely. But I think to bring it down and to kind of say, well, it's not a Zelda game, is reductive and just incorrect. Let's look at Breath of the Wild as a whole. So let's go through the key points. It's set in Hyrule. Yes. We play as Link. Yes. Princess Zelda plays a vital role in the story. Yes. Ganon plays a vital role in the story. Yes. Impa, Kakariko Village, Hateno Village, Lake Hylia, other key landmarks play a key role in the game. Yes. The Deku Tree makes a massive, massive part of this game. Yes. The Master Sword is a key element of this game and Link's journey. Yes. But what does it not have? Dungeons and linear storytelling, and that's about it. So what we're getting upset about is two gameplay elements. Whenever Breath of the Wild in design is closer to the original Legend of Zelda title. And the one thing I'll say very much for this game is that it is the perfect way to tell that story. It doesn't have to be a great story, and I'm not really saying Breath of the Wild is. I don't think it is a great story. It's certainly not up there in the ranks of all the Zelda stories. But the open design actually works really well for this plot. If you think about Link's position, he doesn't have any memories of what went on. We don't know what went on either. But anyone who's recovering their memories, it's not necessarily the case that they would recover those memories in order. So it's okay to go and find the fifth memory before the first, because that's realistic to the human brain. And I'll not talk too deep into it, but it's Tears of the Kingdom that's more problematic in how it tells a story than Breath of the Wild. Because I think, had Breath of the Wild been a standalone story that looked at an apocalyptic Hyrule with a new threat coming through, actually that story is told in a way that makes sense, especially with the context of Link waking up after 100 years. And you've got a world full of different areas, villages, characters. You've got this deep, deep exploration that you must undergo. You've got constant trials to make Link stronger. And while there's stuff you don't like, whether that's weapon durability, whether that's cooking, I think it's not fair to say that this isn't a Zelda game. This is absolutely 100% a Zelda game at heart. And I think therein lies the deeper problem, which is people have strong opinions, and that's totally okay. But it's how we phrase or use our strong opinions that matters. And I think when it comes to things that we're passionate about, sometimes we all just get a little bit carried away. And I think it's really important to take a step back and think, actually, Breath of the Wild is a Zelda game. It might be a Zelda game that I don't like, but it is a Zelda game. I have that relationship with Tears of the Kingdom. And spoilers for the 1000 subscriber spoilercast, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But Tears of the Kingdom for me is such a problematic game in many different ways, but it is absolutely a Zelda game. And if you love Tears of the Kingdom, then I'm delighted for you. But for me, it's just not. It's just not that. And that's totally fine. We're in an era of Zelda now where I feel that it's unlikely that we will see a return to the Ocarina, Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, Skyward Sword style of 3D game. I think Eiji Aonuma has said on multiple occasions that the freedom of Breath of the Wild is what the identity of Zelda has always meant to be. And you might not like that, because you claim to be a purist, and I'm putting that in inverted commas, and you're claiming to be the definitive knowledge holder of how Zelda should be. I say leave it in the hands of the Zelda team. These guys have been working on these games for 20 plus years. I would like to think that they would know a bit more than we do about where Zelda should go next. Now, it's not to say that we won't get a 3D Zelda game ever again that is in the same style as Skyward Sword. I think there's a possibility, but the rumours are that we'll get a Wind Waker HD this year, and the Ocarina of Time remake is coming soon. And I wouldn't be surprised if Ocarina of Time remake really tried to expand it out Hyrule, but we'll see. Anyway, what are your thoughts on this conversation? Pop them down in the comments below, and as always, let's be respectful to each other. Let's have a decent chat about it, and let's not get too carried away. And I'll be replying to comments over the next few days, just to have that discussion. I'm not here to have a go at you, and I don't want you to have a go at me. I'm just here to have a polite discussion. I just want to categorically say the title of this video is wrong. Breath of the Wild is a Zelda game, and in fact, I think it's The Legend of Zelda at its very, very best. Comment down below, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more, and as always, I'll see you next week for next week's video. I've been the Zelda Realm. See you next week.